Welcome to another edition, Soul on Soul with Phinesse, and I am truly, truly excited for today's show because I get to interview somebody I admire, and on a personal tip, I also have the privilege of managing, but she doesn't talk enough about herself, in my opinion, and I think the world needs to know about her. She's an excellent artist, performer, songwriter, producer, and she has her own studio where she teaches people who want to take on singing lessons or piano lessons, and she can do it virtually, as well as she is one of the very few sisters in the country that have their own studio and went to school for it and has her own studio engineering degree. And I'm so proud of her, and I mean that so much. We're going to talk about it. I'm talking about the fabulous artist, Chanel Narcissus. How are you doing, sweetheart?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. And so before we get started, normally I like to ask artists what's their favorite singer, who inspired them. But I'm not going to do that with you.
No. It's just
what I'm going to do is I'm going to name an artist, and I want you to tell me what you think about them, how much they mean to you. So ladies and gentlemen, it's a new game. Courtesy of Phinesse on Soul with Phinesse. Because I gotta put Chanel on the spot.
Clearly.
Gladys Knight.
Oh, please. One of the greatest to ever do it.
Okay. Patti LaBelle.
Are you serious? Man, please. That woman's voice is ridiculous. I mean, just growing up, my mom loved Patti LaBelle. So growing up, what I listened to, her, Gladys, the whole crew.
Okay, right. Anita Baker.
Oh, that's hands down. Oh, that's my heart right there. I see. She don't know it yet, but I call Anita because we on that term, but she don't know those terms just yet. But I love. Oh my gosh, Anita Baker. Oh my goodness, I could go on and on about her for days. I love that woman. I have always dreamt about doing a song with her.
Okay, I got two more for you.
Okay.
Angela Bofield.
Okay, so I'm not that familiar with her work, to be honest. I'm pretty sure I've heard it and may not have known that it was her, just because of who my parents are. But to be able to single out her work specifically, I'm not familiar with it, but I am going to check her out.
Okay.
You mentioned it.
And the last one, Phyllis Hyman.
Are you serious? That woman has set so many, or has opened so many doors for artists such as myself. So that woman, oh my gosh, she's definitely a legend. Definitely a legend.
So Chanel, I have to ask you, in your own words or in your opinion, what is soul music?
Soul is what you feel from your heart. I mean, when an artist is writing or they're singing from their soul. So that 9 times out of 10 is going to convey through their music. So I feel like it's your experiences, it's your feelings, it's your thoughts, it's you without even saying anything, if that makes sense. Yeah, you're singing it, but what are you really saying? So it's messages that you're sending, vibes, energy. That's soul. That's your soul coming through.
Okay. So how did you get started in the music business? Did you choose music or did music choose you?
I think it was both, to be honest. Both of my parents were self-taught musicians. So I started, on the flute actually, and then piano. So I've been playing since I was 3, and my parents never had lessons. I was the first in my family to actually be absolutely trained. So, and as I was growing up, it wasn't like it was consistent training. So it was, some lessons here and a few years later, another few lessons and things like that. But I didn't really, really take it seriously until college because I went to school for music. So I would say it not only was it presented to me as a child, but I chose it as well because I could have just went a different direction. But music is always what I wanted to do.
Okay. When you say trained, break that down. What kind of trained musician are you?
So Since I mean, again, I had lessons as a child, but it was very sporadic. It wasn't consistent. So when I got to college, and again, I was self-taught from my parents. So they taught me what they knew. So when I got to college is when I really had my training, like consistent classical training.
And what's some of your favorite classical pieces?
Franz Liszt Un Sospiro. That's one of the pieces that I'm actually working on to perfect now. I love Mendelssohn Consolations. I love a lot of Rachmaninoff. He's one of my favorite composers. There's so many. But those are a few of my favorites.
When you, because you've been around music, mm-hmm. and Black folks, and when we talk about music, we don't talk about opera or classical music. Mm-hmm. What would you say to people that are listening about those forms of music and what they are missing, if there is anything that they are missing?
Well, I mean, classical is absolutely the foundation of music for anything. So whether it's jazz, blues, soul, whatever, it is the foundation. So you definitely, I mean, in my music alone, you definitely hear my classical training, even though sometimes it's like, I'm trying not to show it too much, but it is who I am. And that's how I've been trained. But I mean, I think with opera, now opera is basically a play or a production with music. It's not a style of music. It's an actual production. So people get that confused. Classical music is the genre of it, and opera is actually like a production, like you're going to a musical, if you will. But obviously they're not singing show tunes. They're singing classical music or arias or things like that. I think it's a wonderful experience if you have not experienced it yet, just to see if it is something that you can get into. But I think what dispels people a lot is because it's generally opera is sung, or operas are in different languages or other languages that they're not familiar with. So it's sometimes maybe a little hard to kind of follow along if you don't understand what's happening. But if you really listen to the music and you really pay attention to how it's being delivered, you can kind of piece the story together. And that's the beauty of it. And of course, you can do your history and background on it, but to watch that come to life is one of the most beautiful things you can possibly ever see.
We are talking to Chanel Narcissus on Soul on Soul with Phinesse. We're going to take a break, but before we do, Chanel, if you can give out your website and your social media so folks can follow you. Absolutely.
The website is www.chanel, Chanel, Narcissus, Narcissus.com. My social media, Instagram is Chanel_Narcissus919, and Facebook is Chanel Narcissus.
All right. And when we come back, we're going to talk to Chanel about her projects past and present and get a little bit more into her music and how her process and what she does to create some of the flavorful sounds that you hear. So when we come back, more with Chanel Narcissus. Phinesse, Soul on Soul.
Sky all black, stars all white, starlight, first star, see the night. Give me the wish, I've been wishing for my whole life. Twilight, beach chair with Miss Right, waves hitting the sand. Playfully the way a kid would hit his dad. Or the way she hit me when playfully getting mad. Handcuff in her ass, moon kissing her skin. Her kisses like a drag.
Nights like these, I lay in my bed and let the rain become my music. I let the thunder carry my thoughts, and they always come back to you. I know I shouldn't dwell on things I can't control, but loving you just
appetite for love, I would willingly feed that. A room just a few steps from where the beach at. But even though we had a room, ain't even need that. Cause we would make love anywhere that we be at. Then satin wrap round your miss-sack, pounce on you misstretch, kiss neck, lips tracing your body, tongue lick sweatness, yes. Swear it used to taste like candy. Your memory grabs me in my moment of weakness, slowly making my defensive walls come down. Then thoughts you seep in, dialing your number, hanging up before I reach it. I'm checking your status just to see if you tweeting anything about we and what we had in the past. Maybe you missing me, maybe I'm your missing piece. If I knew you felt the same, maybe I get some peace. At least enough to sleep, but even then when I sleep, you keep invading my dreams.
Nights like these brings back memories. Nights like these gives me thinking. Nights like these brings back memories. Nights like these conjures up curiosity.
I know I shouldn't dwell on things I can't control, but you are on my mind all night long.
We are back, Soul on Soul with Phinesse, with my special guest, Chanel Narcissus. And Chanel, I want to talk to you about your projects. Now you are independent, correct?
Correct.
And why is it? Are you looking to do a record deal, or are you looking to stay independent?
To stay independent.
And why is that?
I mean, there's several reasons. And let me be very clear. There's nothing wrong in the sense if that's the route that you want to take. It's just not the route that I chose for myself. Especially with the state of the industry and the behind the scenes that people really don't know, if you will, as far as being with a label. But I chose to stay independent because I have the free choice and the free will to do what I want to do as far as an artist wise. And not to mention I have complete control over what I do, what I put out, what my image is. I have complete control, and now that I've had to be in a position where I had to learn how to audio engineer and record and write my own music and put my own music down, I'm kind of like a control freak when it comes to it now. Because again, I can control what I am putting out and how it represents me and my brand. So again, to each their own, but for me, independent is the best way to go. Now it's harder, I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot harder, but it's so worth it. It is absolutely worth it.
And I have to ask, being a female in the music business, sexism plays a lot into it. How do you keep yourself free of those issues and problems? You know, you have your own studio now, but before you used to have to go to other studios. How did you combat those issues when you're trying to be professional and people are trying to use you to do other things beyond music?
Well, that's the thing. When I started, as far as the music side of it, I didn't know how to put what I was hearing in my head. I could write to a song, but to physically put down what I'm hearing in my head, I had no idea how to do that. I could play it, of course, but to actually make it a composition, I didn't know what software to use. I had no idea what to do. So as far as going to other studios, that wasn't really a path that I had to take because I ended up opening my own studio. But as far as dealing with people in the industry when it came to buying music, and because I am a woman, I'm not going to say that it was easy because it's not. And I don't really think that it's easy for anybody. But for women, I find that, you know, we do have to encounter obstacles more so than the male counterparts in this industry. And as you stated with sexism and things like that, or you're a woman, what do you know about that? I mean, being an audio engineer, it's like when I say that to people, they're like, what? Or if I say, oh yeah, well, I produced this song or this beat, as people say, they're like, no, I mean, who wrote the song? And I'm like, I did. You know, it's almost like a shock. And I had that encounter in actually my own studio. They were so surprised that a woman was able to compose this or write this beat. And it's just like, okay, why should it matter if I'm a woman or a man? Talent is talent. Art is art, you know, so it shouldn't matter. But I think in any industry, both sexes face that. But I think more so as women, especially in a male-dominated industry, or they want you to believe it's a male-dominated industry, women are looked at as, oh, you're just, you know, just be pretty. You know, you really know what you're talking about because you're a woman, and that's just not the case.
So what advice would you give to the women and young girls that are in this business? What would you say to them?
Don't let anybody tell you what you cannot do. You know, and it's the fun. I always say this in a lot of my interviews, but that saying that the sky's the limit, I can't stand that saying because it's not the limit. There are no limits, and not even the sky. That's my take on it. So go for whatever your heart desires. And if you find obstacles, guess what? Go around it. Because where there's a will, there's a way. You could do whatever you put your mind to. Trust and believe me. I've had my moments. Don't get me wrong. We're all going to have our moments. But you have to persevere. You have to keep going. Because we need you. We need your talent. We need your voice.
And since you're talking about persevering, you persevered to put out your first project. Can you talk a little bit about the first project that you did, when it came out and what's on it and where it's available?
Sure. So that album, my very first album, was a very special album for me because, like I mentioned, I had to, you know, buy music or try to attempt to buy music, and I got burned. If in layman terms, I got screwed over, if you will. So that was my turning point to say, you know what, I can't rely on other people to create what I'm trying to create or what I'm hearing. I have to do it myself. So I had to learn the hard way, and I had to put in the work and the time and the energy. Now, for me, I already had a music background, so that definitely helped me. But I wrote that album, I produced that album, I recorded that album. I did everything, and some of the backgrounds are with a fellow artist, Freedom Imani. He blessed me on that album, helped me with those backgrounds and everything. But I did everything but mix that album. And to be able to put what I'm hearing and finally get to a point where I was able to translate that into music was one of the best things of my life because it set the course for my career. So that album is available on all digital media outlets. It's also available physically. You can order it through me via Facebook or on my site. And it's called Chanel Narcissus, The Introduction. It is definitely the introduction to who I am or who I was as an artist at that time, which was in 2012. I released that in 2012 while I was attending Sheffield Institute of Recording Arts.
Well, to hold that thought, we're going to get back to that. We're going to come back after the break. But right now, we're going to listen to one of your songs, I believe is Make Love to Me on Soul to Soul.
New album, but okay.
Okay. Well, it's one of the songs we got queued up for you. So this is a little something from Chanel Narcissus right here on Soul on Soul with Phinesse, and we'll be right back.
You make me wanna say, you make me wanna say, how deep we can go, deep, deep down. And I want to know how good you make me feel, deep, deep down. Take your hands around my body and explore it. For this land is for you to claim. Take me for a ride so far it's not in existence. Deep, deep down, you make me say. hazme el amor. Quiero saber que yo no puedes ir. Déjame saber que tú me llevas ahí. Quiero sentirte dentro de mí. Mi corazón, mi mente, mi cuerpo se sienten tan bien, se sienten tan bien, se sienten tan bien. Tu éxtasis es enviado por el cielo.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Chanel Narcissus. Great song, by the way. It's a great project because you know I'm involved. You know. Anyway, let me stop because she's gonna kill me later on. But Chanel, before we went into your song, you were talking about Sheffield.
Mhm.
Explain to everybody about Sheffield, your experience at Sheffield, and then talk about Studio Nar as well.
Okay. Well, so Sheffield is basically, if you want to look at it, a technical school where they offer audio recording or audio engineering, broadcasting, tech, some other few subjects. But I went for audio engineering, and it's funny because a few years prior to my acceptance, I had went on a tour. And I said, I have to go to the school. I have to go to the school one day. I just have to go. And of course, life happened and time went on. And then I found my opportunity and I applied and I was accepted. And I was the only female in my class. And it was a small class because I was going part-time at the time. But it was one of the best experiences I've ever experienced, because not only did I meet a group of people and make amazing connections, but I learned so much, and it definitely helped me in I had a studio, but it wasn't open to the public. Let's put it that way. So by going to Sheffield, it gave me the confidence that I needed to really, really pursue opening up a recording studio and expanding on my, my talents and my knowledge and being able to pass that on to other people.
And then are you able to work with not only people in the area where you are in Maryland, but are you able to work with artists from around the world with your studio?
For the lesson side, of course, you can't record them virtually, but for the lesson side, so it's two parts to the studio. It's Studio Nar. We offer recording studio services or engineering services. We also offer music lessons for piano and voice, like you mentioned earlier. And we also offer audition prep. And audition prep is more so towards the acting side, or if you're preparing for an audition, it means you already know how to sing, you already know the pieces you're working on. We're just kind of perfecting, and I'm guiding you through that process to get you ready for your audition. But yes, we do now, due to COVID, and not that we didn't before, but now we're strictly virtual. We offer music lessons online, piano and voice.
So if they want to get in contact with you for lessons, music lessons, acting lessons, is there a phone number or an email that they can contact you?
There's a site, an email, a phone number. Social media, however you need to get to me, get to me. But our website is studionar.com. Our Instagram is the same, Studio Nar LLC. The phone number is 443-281-0188. Again, that's 443-281-0188. Social media is the same, Facebook, Facebook, Twitter is Studio Nar.
All right. Now, I want clarification. You can work with other artists that are in other cities or countries and with their tracks and do some stuff with them if they're able to send you the tracks and their music or the lyrics, right?
In reference to what? What do you mean? As far as like
working on somebody's record. Say you want to work on somebody's
like if
album.
I'm featuring, like doing keys or something?
Yeah,
or
something on keys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I thought you were asking like, am I able to record them virtually? I'm like, no. That's kind of impossible. But I mean, who knows? Technology these days. I'm just not aware of it. But yes, absolutely. If they wanted me to be on a song or wanted me to sing on something, or even just wanted me to listen to it and critique it for them, absolutely, absolutely.
Right. And is there a separate email and a phone number for that?
No, you can still send that to studionarllc@gmail.com.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
now, if you're asking for features, then yes, that will go either to my direct email or my manager's email.
You got such a beautiful manager, by the way. I just want to throw that in there for everybody that's watching and listening.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you slide with that one. I'm in my media mode. Woosah.
Started with me.
So Chanel, yes. What is it when people listen to your music, go to your site? What do you want them to know about you, the performer, the artist, the engineer, the producer, songwriter? What do you want folks to know?
I just want them to know that my music is real and it really truly comes from my soul. I write all of my own music. All of my music is that I write, or if you will, compose, are original music. So it's literally my soul bearing to you all. And so I just want you to feel that energy and feel me as an artist and understand me as an artist.
And before I let you go, we got to talk about the new project you're working on now. When is that going to be released? I heard rumors that there's a single you're working on. Can you talk a little bit about
that? So I'm not announcing when it's going to be released just yet. But yes, there is a new single that is dropping. Well, Make Love to Me was the first one, technically, off of this album. The album is called In My Element. So this next single and music video is dropping very, very soon. But it will be released this year. The single, that is. The album is set to release next year.
All right. Well, Chanel, in all seriousness, you are one of the most incredible independent artists that I know of. And
I can't hear you.
The things you do for the music business and for young artists is truly amazing. Mm-hmm. And it's a privilege to always talk with you and to also work with you. And there's nothing but the sky's the limit. I know you hate saying it.
There are no limits.
And I'm going to say it anyway, just to get on your nerves. The sky's the limit, Chanel.
There are no limits. Don't limit me, honey. Because I'm going past that.
But honestly, I want to thank you for being on Soul on Soul with Phinesse. Taking the time out to discuss you and your project. And that's it. Thank you so much. You know I love you. I ain't got nothing but love for you.
I love you more.
All right, you know how do.
That I do.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed today's show. Chanel Narcissuss. Make sure you look her up social media, on her website, the whole nine. If you want to work with her, reach out. We can do that now. We're independent artists. Do your own thing.
Yep.
You see what we doing. Anyway, shout out to My Soul Radio, iSoul Television, Indie Soul Magazine, and Good Af Sauce. because I can't say what the AF stand for. So I say good AF sauce for being part of this show. We out of here. See you next time. So long, so with Phinesse. Peace.
You asked me what was on my mind as my mind travels back in time to how good you feel, how my heart won't keep still. My mind is everywhere. That night under full moon and clear skies, your lips found their way to mine. Our hands locked, stuck frozen, trying to listen to my feelings, but can't quite hear them because my mind is everywhere. Emotions are all over, not wanting you to see me vulnerable, but thoughts of how good you feel brings me back to this moment we're sharing. Begging and pleading that you don't stop, and this moment never ends. But then our true story resurrects. The way your tongue slides past my spot, how you're the only one that caresses it just right. The way you make my spine curve into you, causing my ass to feel whole. If allowed, could change both our worlds. Me saying your name as I say stop, you whispering, then stop me, knowing I should, but knowing I won't. That whisper repeats. Slowly give you control over me. Keep it strong enough that my knees don't fail me. Trying to get away from this hold you have, only to be pulled back in and not fight it. How your hands travel down my thighs, forcing me to lose my mind. My emotions are running high. I get away long enough to see you walking away, leaving me there as my heart screams for you to stay. I need to feel your lips just one more time. I need to taste your tongue just one more time. How bad I need you, but if asked, will deny. Can't display that you have the power, knowing just how weak you make me with every encounter. I stand there, watching you walk away. No words are spoken. Until next time our tug of war comes to an end.
Solo and Soul with Phinesse. 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 This has been another Soul Media production.